Resistance is forming.
It is currently 2:43 AM as I record this. There's a very good reason for that. It's because I had a root canal yesterday, and that appears to have failed, if the agony coursing through my tooth is anything to go by. So I ain't sleeping tonight. Or am I? You see, I had a good idea, something that might lull me into the land of Nod. I thought to myself, you know what? It might be 2:43 or 2:44 AM now, but if I go back over the footage I captured of the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance tactics, then I might just fall unconscious anyway, because it's so pissing dull. The footage doesn't get much better than this, folks. I mean, if you hold on, a Skeksis will turn up. The Chamberlain will turn up a little bit later, but even then, it doesn't get very exciting. It really doesn't get any more exciting than this. This, by the way, isn't a phone game. I know that's what you might be thinking right now. Surely this was, you know, captured on an iPad at the very best. Oh no! Oh no! This is on the Switch, this one. It's on, I think, pretty much all the systems. $19.99! $19.99, $20 for this. It's cheap. It's unimaginative. It's got no sense of energy to it whatsoever. There aren't really voices. The Chamberlain makes some noises. It doesn't sound like Simon Pegg's Chamberlain, though. It sounds like a very off-model, off-brand impersonation. It's a couple of voice lines. For the most part, it's just quiet and dreary. It's as bare bones as strategy gets. Now, I'm not a big strategy player, either turn-based or real-time, but every now and then, the right pitch will come along and it will get me into it. I liked Advance Wars. I quite liked the first Disgaea. It got a bit too... it was too dense. I couldn't get through it all in the end. But, you know, I'm fond of the right kind of strategy game. And I was looking forward to this because I am a big Dark Crystal fan. I've been fascinated by Dark Crystal since I was like 5 years old. And I loved the Netflix show. Age of Resistance is a terrific watch. Can't recommend it enough. So I was looking forward to this. I was like, you know, Dark Crystal game might not be my preferred genre, but I'm sure the Dark Crystal influence will be enough to drag me in, as a good premise has with other strategy games. But no, not this. Not this one, unfortunately. This $19.99 waste of money. It's just so bare bones. It's like the bare minimum you'd expect from a turn-based strategy. It's cheap, it's tacky, it's visually underwhelming, it's mechanically clunky and slow. There's no streamlining involved in this game. Every action you do takes several steps more than it should. And with fairly limited skills and even more limited animations and sound effects, you get incredibly bored of the whole thing very, very quickly. The game's story is presented with, I mean, you've seen what these games do, these ones that are done on the cheap. They're these still images, like comic book panels with not very well drawn gelflings and skeksis, and the story itself is a literal retelling of the Netflix show, just to hammer home the lack of imagination and inspiration in this game. I mean, for God's sake, when you've got control of a character, you can't just move them, or you can't just draw out a path on the grid for them to move on like you can in, you know, any other fucking strategy game. You have to select the character, select a move from an action wheel, then move the character, then open the action wheel again, and then select the action you want to do, and then select where that action goes. You know, in some games, some strategy games, even turn-based ones, you can just click on an enemy, and if the unit you're commanding can move within range and do the attack that you want it to do, they'll just fucking do it. The only real plus point of note is the job system. You can assign jobs to any of your gelflings, any of your resistance fighters. There are jobs like Soldier, which is, you know, simple offensive attacks, or Mender, which is the healer archetype. As your characters gain levels in their jobs, they will unlock new skills to choose from and equip. They can equip a secondary job to have some skills from another class, and as they gain levels, they will unlock more advanced versions of those jobs. There is a mild amusement in creating your own bespoke resistance fighters, tailoring these gelflings to how you want to play. You can find something in that. Some mild compulsion to play to see how these skills work. But I mean, Jesus Christ, I'm describing the bottom of the barrel. And really that's what this game is, the bottom of the barrel. It's the bare minimum. It's a minimum viable product. They cobbled together the very basics of a strategy game and left it at that. I mean, I'm not kidding. This is it. This is the game. I mean, one thing I didn't show off, I just didn't get a chance to do it while I was doing the footage. You know, you can shove enemies and stuff like that. Like, certain attacks will reposition enemies. So, for example, there are these pits in this map with gobbles. They're from the Netflix show because everything in this is from the Netflix show. But you can push enemies into that and they'll take damage. But if you've played a strategy game, right? You've probably done that. I was doing that in Dynasty Tactics 20 fucking years ago. It was probably not 20, 15 if not more. And this is worse than Dynasty Tactics. I remember Dynasty Tactics is old. And this is way worse and stripped down. And it's 1999. And the Chamberlain doesn't sound right. I do a better Chamberlain, and my Chamberlain's shit. Friend, Gelfling, friend! That's still better. That is still better than that one. Unless it is Simon Pegg, in which case he really effing phoned it in. But I don't think it could be Simon Pegg doing this Chamberlain. I'm out of things to say. The average Jimpressions video will be like 10 to 12 minutes. This ain't doing that. I got nothing left for you. The Dark Crystal Age of Resistance Tactics is a cheap cash-in. That makes me sad to say, because, as I said earlier, big Dark Crystal fan, I was looking forward to this. Yes, maybe I should have looked up some videos before I spent $20 on the bloody thing. Aside from the dated visuals, the dated gameplay, the fact that when I docked the Switch it started to run worse, this game feels like a throwback in every way. A throwback to that time where licensed games were a dime a dozen. That era where every movie release was accompanied by some cynically motivated, half-heartedly produced money grab. If you like the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance, you don't need to play this game, because narratively it's just the show again. And if you like strategy games, play any other one. There are lots of ones that you can get for really cheap now. Cheaper than $19.99. There are strategy games on mobile phones that look and play and run better than this. Some of those fuckers are free. Don't bother with it. Ancient creaking gameplay, no tangible sense of interest from the people who developed it, and the price is just friggin' insulting. Leave it well alone.